Falcon is the latest independent movie that finally reached theaters near me, and it is about a young man named Zach who runs away from his care home to make his dream of becoming a wrestler come true. Zach is backed up by Shia LaBeouf, Dakota Johnson, Thomas Hayden Church, Bruce Stern, John Brenthal, and John Hawkes for an adventure film that is along the lines of Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. It is a southern tale that is like, oh brother, where art thou meets mud. And that is completely fine. This was a movie that I was very much so excited for based on the premise as well as the fact that the cast was all A-listers. And I'm always about independent movies that have like a big cast that are kind of like, you know what, I don't really want to get paid for this movie. It's just so that way this movie can get made because it means a lot to me. I like that. I like when movies do films for the art and not the money, which I understand you got to make money in the industry, but it's nice when you see big actors kind of take like a cut to make a film that really does feel at home for them. And it makes sense. I think that this is a movie that it's not perfect. I'm just saying that right off the bat. I don't think it's perfect, but I do think that it is a really good time. I think that the humor is perfect, and it really is funny, and you really do get a sense of the chemistry between Zach and Shia LaBeouf's character. Like they're great together, and it's also really nice to see the lead character. I mean, he's a character that his archetype you haven't really seen in a movie like this. You really haven't. And I think that's what's really unique about this movie is that it stands on that as well as it introduces a lot of things that go on in the movie where it's like, oh my goodness, wow, it's 2019, stuff like this is still going on like in the South. And it's just like, as someone that's born in the upper East Coast, it's kind of like, oh wow, like, I'm not really accustomed to this. Like I'm sure people in the South are, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, this is like everyday life. But for someone like me, it's not. So there was a lot of like insightful things for me whilst watching this movie. Not only that, though, I think that the filmmaking, it's not mind blowing, but it's very rock solid. I mean, you'll have a lot of camera work that is like wide angle lens where it's like longer than a couple seconds. It's really getting a sense of the framing and the shots that are going on. And I loved also the very light color grading, at least that's what it seemed like. Because it was unique. It gave it like a realistic style to it. I already mentioned the cast and how everyone's great in it. I mean, Shia LaBeouf, it stinks that he kind of like has fallen off the map after Fury, but like it's really nice to see him kind of back in that type of role where it's like, oh wow, you're doing a really good job. But this is overall a movie that I would highly recommend for the acting, the humor, just the overall classical sense of like adventure. But it's not a perfect movie, as I mentioned before. I think the biggest problem lies in the final act. It's enjoyable to be sure, but there's certain things that happen that they just kind of like gloss over, especially like in the last 10 minutes where they just gloss over and it's like, wait a minute, how did this get resolved? Or, oh, how did this get resolved? And it stinks because like you're watching the movie and you're just kind of like, oh, I wish it didn't get solved like that easily. And that's the other thing. This movie's pretty predictable. I mean, as enjoyable as it is and as well written as it is, it does have those classic tropes. And I think that yeah, some people might say, oh, well, that's the point because it's, literally Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. But for me personally, I just wish there was more unpredictability. Like I found like most of the movie I found to be pretty predictable, but it didn't decrease the value of the movie because I think it was a good movie. Like if someone was like, oh, what should you see movies? I'd say Loose and I would say Peanut Butter Falcon. Because Peanut Butter Falcon, it's a good movie. I would definitely recommend it, and that's why for me personally, you know what? I'll be giving it a 4 to 5 star rating, which was like a hot sauce rating. It's a good old Louisiana pure crystal hot sauce. Fun fact: I actually, while watching the movie, I noticed that during the diner scene, they had as like one of the sauces Louisiana pure crystal hot sauce. So I just found it funny because I was like, I wonder if that's symbolic. But at the same time, during that point in the movie, I was like, yeah, this is probably like a 4.5. But by the end, I was like, wow, it's going to get my Louisiana Pure Crystal Hot Sauce. And there was literally a scene with Louisiana Pure Crystal Hot Sauce in the background. When you watch the movie, look in the background. You'll notice it. Again, it looks like this. But anyways, that's my review of the Peanut Butter Falcon. Again, non-spoiler review. But if you have any questions about like spoilers or for me to go in depth about the ending, feel free to give me a shout out in the comment section down below. I really do appreciate it. But most importantly, guys, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate your support. And don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.